Let me show you how to do the initial setup on the Motorola Edge 70. So once you turn on your phone, you will see this Hello Moto screen, and after a couple of seconds you can also choose the language, and we also have some vision settings that you can go through. So once you pick up the language that you wanted to use for this setup, we can of course press start over here. Press on the start button. Then we can set up our Edge 70 by using another device. So if you want to immediately copy pretty much everything, then you can use one of these two options, depending if you had Android or iPhone. Now, in my case, I want to perform a clean setup, so I'm just gonna skip, using the skip button in the bottom left corner. Then we can connect to Wi-Fi, so of course over here you can try to search for your Wi-Fi network. You can also set up the phone by using the mobile network, so if you have mobile data you can use that instead. You can also press on add new network, and you can use the QR code scanner, so you can scan the Wi-Fi QR code, and if you want you can also set up offline if needed. So and also if the list does not include your Wi-Fi, you can also tap on see all Wi-Fi networks, so that you can be pretty certain that you can find your Wi-Fi network. And if you decide to connect, then we should be able to move on to the next screen. First we have privacy and security settings. So in this case we can disable this and this if you don't want to help Motorola improve products and enhance device support. We also have optimized battery use. Of course, the power consumption and data might be tracked by the phone, but this can be helpful with optimization of the battery, so if you want to, you can turn it on. We also have smart updates and some other information, so you want to scroll through this list and decide what you actually want to agree to and which options should be disabled, and we're gonna press accept and continue afterwards. Now let's wait for the next screen. After that we have Google sign-in page, so you can log into your Google account quite easily. You can also create a new account in case you need to do so, and of course you can also skip this process for now, and later on, for example in settings, you should be able to log into your Google account or accounts if needed. In my case I'm gonna actually sign in. After that we need to choose who will be using this device. In my case I will be using it, so I'm gonna go next. And then we need to agree to Google Terms of Service if you of course decided to sign in. And now we need to wait again, just a couple of seconds. You can immediately create a password to the lock screen if you want to do so. You can set up a PIN code. You can also tap on more unlock options in order to change the password type. You can also skip this process if you don't want to set up a password yet, and you don't have to worry about anything. You can of course set it up later in settings. In my case I'm gonna actually skip this. I don't need a password right now. We can also copy apps and data, and if you have backups saved on your Google account, then in this case you want to go next, and you should be able to find all backups that you have. On the other hand, if you don't want to copy apps and data, then of course we can choose do it later, and there we go, just confirm that you want to do it later. Then we have Google services like the location, which we can enable and disable. We have the scanning option, which I actually recommend you disabling. There is no need to use Wi-Fi scanning and the Bluetooth scanning all the time. I'm gonna also disable phone number verification. I don't need it. And I can also disable usage and diagnostic data. There is no need to use them, so of course it's up to personal preference if you want to have them enabled or not. But once you decide about everything, we can go ahead and press accept. Then we have the Google services, the backup option. So if you want to back up photos and videos, as well as other device data that is listed over here, then of course you can agree to do so. You can choose turn on backup. If you want to exclude something, we can tap on this checkbox. And if you don't want to backup anything, once again we can choose to not backup. Now we have the choice of the default browser and search engine, and first we have the browser. So in this case, if you don't know which one to choose, the most popular option is, I believe, the Chrome browser, the Google Chrome. So you can select this one and you should be pretty happy with your choice. Of course, feel free to try anything from this list. Let's press set as default. Then we have the default search engine, and in this case, of course, the most popular choice is Google. And let's go ahead and press set as default. Now in this case, we can just leave the setup and just get a reminder to continue the setup later on, in order to finalize the process later on, if you just want to go into the home screen as quickly as possible. But in my case, I'm gonna actually tap on continue just to show you what is afterwards. So in this case, we have quick settings, so we can tap on I agree if you decide to use quick settings at some point in the future. Over here we can also use, we have the information about the Gemini, but we can also use the Hey Google voice recognition. In my case, I don't really use the voice recognition. I don't really use the Gemini at all, or the Google Assistant, so I don't really need to set it up. But in your case, if you actually do like to use the Gemini, for example, or the Google Assistant, of course, and then you can choose to turn on, and you will have the setup of your voice recognition. Then we can also add our payment card into our phone in order to use it to, of course, pay with our phone. So if you want to set it up right now, you can, of course, easily do so. You can add your card over here, but also later on, we can also just go to the Google Wallet app and set it up just another time. And I'm gonna skip that for now. I don't want to waste my time on that right now. And unfortunately, we have some additional apps, and it seems that there is no option to actually exclude them. Some of them are pretty good that they are included, like for example the Wallet app, maybe the Fitbit for some people, and the Find Hub, of course. But these apps over here, well, there's really no need to have them installed. This is just a bloatware. But unfortunately, right now we cannot do anything about it. Later on we can uninstall them, but right now we have to just agree to let them be installed. We can also stay up to date with some information about new events and launches and so on and so forth made by Motorola. I'm just gonna skip that. I don't really want to have any notifications. We have the live lock screen, which allows you to change the lock screen every time you go to the lock screen, pretty much. I don't like this feature. I'm just gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna go next. Then we have the navigation style, so you can choose if you want to use buttons or gestures for navigation. If you decide to go for buttons, you can change the button order. You can have the back button on the left or on the right side. And for gestures, well, there's not much left to customize over here. I'm gonna actually stick with buttons in this case, and let's go next. We have the theme selection, so you can choose light, dark, and transition, so the phone can automatically switch between these two modes depending on the time. And let's go next. We can also set up parental controls. If you need to do so, then of course you can just press setup. On the other hand, if not needed, then we can just skip, of course. And of course, now we are done, so let's just tap on finish. Let's then just choose go to my home screen, and let's see if we can finally go to the home screen. Unfortunately not. We have still some more apps that we can in theory install. I just wanted to skip them. We can also uncheck them just to be sure. Lots of games that we don't really need to get on our phone, and I'm afraid they will be still installed anyway. This is just how the bloatware works on these phones nowadays. And as you can see, some of these apps that we saw previously are being installed, and eventually they will be installed. But that's pretty much it. The first setup is done. You can now do whatever you want on your phone. You can go through the Play Store and start installing apps. You can go through the settings of the phone in order to make some additional changes. So thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.